Hey everyone, today I was just going to show everyone the settings I use for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and some tweaks you can do to get your game running smoother and improve vision, like for spotting enemies in the game. So first off, I'll start with the driver settings, if I can get it to go to desktop. You want to go to NVIDIA Control Panel and make sure your power management is set to prefer maximum performance. The default is optimal power, and you can set it custom just for this game, or you can use the global settings and just have it for all games. That's to get the max FPS you can. I play on 144 Hz with my monitor, so obviously I want to try to get as close to 144 FPS average to take advantage of that. But if you run a 60 Hz monitor, obviously you might be able to get away with running optimal power. And the other one is just make sure VSync's off. You can use if you don't have it on in game, you can just use 3D application. And the rest of these, if you've got like a weaker card like a GTX 1050, I'm using a 1060, but if you've got something lower, you can set this to high performance as well, and that'll help. And you can turn, where is it? There's a clamping option here. Make sure it's on allow for higher performance. It's got a description just here. Anyway, so that's the drivers, and obviously make sure they're up to date. And then as for the game, go to your properties in Steam Library and set launch options. And this is what I'm running. You can turn off anti-aliasing for materials, I'm guessing, which should be objects in the game. maxMem can help with crashes and memory usage. Obviously set it to a lower number than what your maximum RAM is. So if you've got 16 gig RAM, around 13 gigs seems to be good enough. If you've only got 8 gig RAM, then you want to set it to something like 5 gig for the game. And refresh 144 is just for my refresh rate. I'm not sure if this actually helps, since I know the game has a cap of 144 FPS, but I don't know if it actually runs. This changes the refresh rate in game or not. Like, there's not really a way to test. But that's what I'm running. And then SM4 is a weird, like, there's a guide online, an FPS guide that says this changes the API from DirectX 11 to DirectX 10 or something along those lines. But what I've found is it doesn't seem to make much visual difference in the game, but when you turn shadows to very low or low, it actually disables all object shadows in the game, including trees and buildings. So it gives a pretty unfair advantage, but seeing as there's guides all around the net suggesting to use this command, I'm guessing a lot of people are running it like without even knowing that that's why their shadows are disappearing. Um, so I'll highly recommend SM4 until they patch it. Like, I hope they fix it because I don't mind playing with shadows, but when I know other people can turn them off, I just play with them turned off too. So that's the one there. And then in game, launch my game. So this is what it looks like normally. This is what, like, you can, these graphics here are actually in-game graphics, because when you change settings, it'll actually affect what this loading screen looks like, what the menu screen looks like. So if I turn shadows up to ultra, you see everything gets dark because it's in a dark building. So you can actually test most things except for foliage and effects, obviously. Post-processing, add some depth of field to the objects. I'd have to turn shadows back down. And anti-aliasing, it not sharpens, it removes jagged edges, but it actually adds blur to everything. So that's with anti-aliasing off. You can see that everything looks a bit more like sharp or cut, but at the same time there's jagged edges. You can see down this shadow here and along the gun rail. You can see those jaggies, and here on the back arch on the building. And it's more prominent. Like if I'm actually in a game, you'll notice it a lot more when you're looking at a building from far away. You'll see these like jagged lines. So when you turn anti-aliasing up, it actually smooths all those edges out. As you can see, they're a lot smoother. I can turn to ultra, even smoother. But the the negative side effect of that is um, just look at the bricks here on this in the background. You can actually see it looks kind of blurry, and even his facial details, it adds a weird blur to the game. So I'll just turn it off again so you can look at his face. You see it there in the back and the bricks. Just look at, if you look at the bricks closely, because you can actually see those when I turn this on. You might notice they're a bit more blurred, but people complain about it, and that's why a lot of people play with it off. I like to play with it high, but I'm actually using another tweak which fixes the problem of blurring with anti-aliasing on. So AA, it's a personal preference. If you've got lots of VRAM, you can turn it up. There's like pretty much no performance hit. Post-processing, you can have it up, but the negative side effect of that is if you have foliage turned up, it'll actually add like depth or more thickness to the foliage, so to the grass and stuff, and it actually looks like there's more grass, but it's just thicker. And I'll test it in game a bit later in another video. But post-processing along with foliage, when you have them both turned up, it actually gets harder to see people in open plains. So I just keep it very low. There's a few other effects it adds, like bloom and depth of field when you have it on ultra. But for performance and competitive reasons, very low is pretty safe. Shadows, obviously add shadows. Very low will make the player shadow blocky and pixelated. Low will turn everything into like a a blurred shadow, so it won't be pixelated, but it'll just be like a blob. And then medium is just smoother, like it's more defined, but it's still a blur. And then when you turn it high or ultra, shadows become really sharp and more deep. So you can see these little, from the window here, you can see the detail of the shadow. So I'll just turn it, try high. See, the detail gets a bit more blurred here between ultra and high. And on medium, it's like thick blur. And low, I can't really demonstrate low, seeing as I've got the SM4 enabled. It actually turns all the shadows off, which it shouldn't do, but it does. And you'll only get player shadows, which is blobs. So for best performance, it is one of the most taxing settings you can turn up. So if you turn it to very low, if you want higher FPS and smooth FPS in combat, very low is what I'd run at. Textures is similar to anti-aliasing. If you've got lots of VRAM and a decent card, like 4 gig VRAM or higher, you can crank it up to high or medium. Ultra if you've got 6 plus VRAM, but it will hit your FPS a little bit, and it also adds more lag when loading between areas. So if you're driving your vehicle through like an open field and you're getting to like a different section of the map, the stutter that the game will have loading the next area will be a bit more prominent when you're running ultra, and I find medium or high tends to reduce it a fair bit, so I run high. Effects are the bombs and bullet fire in the game. It just makes it more detailed, it looks better. But if you run it on high or ultra, at least with my 1060, when a red zone pops up and bombs are going off everywhere, it literally cuts my FPS by like 3/4. So I'll go from like 100 FPS down to like 35 or something like that. So I just play with it on very low because I don't want any kind of lag during combat. Like if a red zone happens to go off and you're near it and you're trying to fight people, yeah, you don't want any FPS drops. Foliage is kind of like view distance. If you turn it up medium or higher, you'll actually get trees on the mountains in the background at different distances. So obviously all the way in ultra, you'll get tons of trees, like as far as you can see. And high just progressively reduces it as you go down in settings, up to low, where between low and very low, there's very little difference. It's more detail of the foliage, but and the distance that it renders those detailed trees. So as you come closer to trees, you'll notice more pop in on very low. You'll notice like a tree will look more crappy, and as you get closer, it'll get more detailed on very low. While with low, it just expands that distance that the trees change their like distance detail. So yeah, very low is a safe one, seeing as you don't want tons of trees on mountains and stuff. Like if you're trying to snipe someone off in a mountain, or even look around where someone's shooting at you from, and you can't see. Trees will get in the way, so turning it to low or very low would be my suggestion. Low is perfectly fine though. There's not much difference between these two. And view distance finally is terrain mesh. So stuff like if you stand on a mountain and start on ultra, you'll see like the nuclear power plant. Even if your heap's far away, you'll see the bridge that people drive across. And if you turn it to high, it's like the detail will drop a little bit, and maybe if the power plant's far away enough, it'll disappear. And like just say you're standing on a hill, you can see a bridge and the power plant. The power plant's the furthest one away. Turning it to high, that'll disappear, and then turning it to medium, the bridge will disappear. Like it'll stop drawing it until you get closer. And then low and very low just reduces that distance even more, but it seems to affect rocks and terrain detail a bit more. So if you're looking at like the coast, and you can see it in a little bit of detail at medium, turning it to low will make it just look more blocky and pixelated, and very low will like completely remove some of the detail of the cliffs. But the thing is, it only affects terrain. It doesn't affect players, or I don't think it affects vehicles either. So you can play on very low, and you can still zoom in and snipe someone. So obviously that's going to hit FPS as well. So I play it on very low, and motion blur is going to make it harder to shoot people that are running. So, or when you're running and you're trying to strafe, you don't want motion blur. And finally, we get to the other big impact on FPS, which is screen scale, which is like the rendering quality. So if you're in 1920 by 1080 resolution, this is on 100% screen scale. 100 is 100%. So obviously dropping it by like 10 will drop that resolution quality of the render. But the thing I've noticed is that if you do drop it, you'll get an FPS increase, but the image, because of the anti-aliasing blur or whatever setting, like I don't think it even affects it if I have it off. But the image quality is like barely even hit. So I don't know if that's intentional or what, but I found that you only start to notice it down at like 70. So you can see here, if you look at this ammo crate, the difference is so tiny, but you get like a nice 10 to 15 FPS boost. So this is a grenade, 90, a little bit more detailed, 80, and then if you go 70 is too low, everything just looks like crap. And then you can turn that off to counteract it, make it look a bit blurry. But I find 80s like the lowest I want to go, but it's personal preference. You can gain a lot of FPS if you're getting low FPS on this, and it's not like other games where you turn it to like 70 and the whole thing turns into like blocks that I've noticed. So 80 for screen scale, and then you might look at this image and, well, I don't know actually, because I play on different settings, but you might think this looks fine. I think it looks absolutely crap, and the fix for that, especially on 80 screen scale, why did I turn? The fix for that is actually to use an app called Reshade, which is on this site here, reshade.me, and it's like a tiny file. And the PlayerUnknown Battleground devs have said it's okay to use Reshade. They actually answered a tweet somewhere. I don't know where the tweet is. Probably on this link. There we go. This guy tweeted at Battle Royale Mod, which is the devs for PlayerUnknown, and they said it's fine to use Reshade. And what Reshade is it's like a graphics injector that allows you to modify certain aspects of the in-game graphics. It lets you add more color, more. I don't think depth of field is allowed, but mainly color and sharpness you can actually tweak, which is awesome. Especially if you want your game to look more vibrant. And it works with a ton of other games, but pretty much you just download it. It's a tiny file. That's it there, 4 MB. Run it. I'll just do a demo run here. Demo install. Select your game, and the game is in Steam Apps, Common, PlayerUnknown, TSL Game, Binaries, Win64, and TSLGame.exe. click open, and select rendering API. As you can see in game, it's using DirectX 11. And yeah, basically you install it. If it asks you about pre-built or preset shader, preset options, click yes. And there's two things that'll come up. Actually, the guide I had a second ago can actually explain it. This site here. So result, if you just search it in Steam, it'll come up in Google. There's a link there, but I'll link that in the description of this video too. So it's got a guide here. You install it. When you're prompted, do you want to download a standard collection of effects? Click yes, and then uncheck all because there's a ton of them there. And HDR seems to be, you can tweak this alone. Like, you don't need HDR. You can tweak the brightness and everything that HDR does just using Technicolor and the in-game brightness. So if you find that the game's bright enough, or you know how to, like, you don't mind tweaking it a little bit on your own, then you can ignore that one. Otherwise, just install all three, and you can just, that'll like boost your brightness by itself, but you can use Technicolor alone to boost brightness. So install those, and then it'll automatically basically inject into your game. It'll add the files into your game folder. It's easy to uninstall. You can just delete the files. It doesn't modify your exe in any way, and you can't get banned for it. Yeah, you can't, because they said it's fine, and it doesn't come up, like, it doesn't get detected with anything. I'm running it right now. So you can follow this guide, install it. It's got like a guide on how to change the settings. You don't want to do this because it's personal preference. Everyone's got different monitors, and you know your own monitor settings will affect how this looks. So I recommend just tweaking it on your own and finding what works for you. But I'll show you here. So the default to open Reshade is Shift F2, and that brings it up there. You can see I've only got the two, Adaptive Sharpen and Technicolor. I'm not using HDR. And I haven't actually got it turned on because I was going to demonstrate what it does. So I'll turn it on now. And that's the blur fixed from anti-aliasing. And you can see the detail and the brightness is all brought back, even though I'm only running 80 on screen scale. So you can see that there. If I turn it off and I turn screen scale to 100, it still looks like not as good. Or even 120. I don't think it'll help too. Oh, it helps a little bit actually. But just to compare, 100, and then I can turn it on, and then it actually gets a bit too sharp. So back down to 80 for that nice FPS boost. And you can see that the game looks pretty defined. The shadows are gone. You can spot enemies real easily. And then I'll go back into the settings, and it's pretty simple to use. These two will turn off. Like if you don't want to use the color, you just want the default color scheme. That's how it looks. So normal game, blurry, sharpness on, blurry, sharpness on. Or if I turn anti-aliasing off, that's with Reshade off. So in-game with no anti-aliasing, and then Reshade on, which looks a bit too sharp. Like obviously you can see the pixelation for the sharpness. But anti-aliasing high, and off, on, off, blurry, on. It looks just right for me. And then the Technicolor adds the brightness and the vibrance to the color. And what happens is when you first start it, it'll be like blank up here, and you just want to click plus and name your configuration file. It's for the game, so you can just put, like, I've put PUBG, and that'll save it, and it'll have these two here that you can adjust. And by default, it won't have a effects toggle key, so I just use insert because the game doesn't use that key for anything. And then it'll be in configuration mode, hopefully. So or you can just change it to configuration mode. And what that does is it lets you adjust everything. So adaptive sharpen, the adjustments down here. So by default it should be 1. I set mine to 1.2. You can set it even higher if you find it's not sharp enough. And I left all these alone because it's just a little bit too much to go through every single one. And then what if I forget the defaults? I don't know. And then when you're done with it, you can just close it like that. And then you can adjust your color palette and color strength depending on how you like to do it. And brightness, obviously you can make it even brighter. Saturation is the colors, so you can make it really like cartoony or gray. Don't recommend gray. And strength, which is basically the slider for both of these at the same time. So if I put it to 0, it goes back to default color. And saturation 1, and the highest is 1 actually. So yeah, that's those. And once you've done everything, go to settings and change it back to performance mode. It stops it. It basically runs in a non-configurable mode, so you can't change anything. But I think it helps with FPS a little bit. And there's a few other features here. You want to show a clock. I don't know where it puts the clock. Where's the clock? Bruh. Oh, it's up in the corner. It's getting covered by my Steam. NVIDIA share is covering it, that's why I didn't notice. But actually, that's really handy to have a damn clock here. So there you go. And then Shift F2 to close it again. And I'll show you what that looks like in game. If I find a game. And you should see my FPS is fairly high for the graphics card I'm using. So there we go. 125 FPS. And you can see there's no tree shadows. There's no shadows down here. This is from running the SM4 launch option. There should be shadows here, but there's not, like, even though there's a light. It's very, yeah, it's basically no shadow. It's the tiniest bit. Where are the shadows? Got a gunshot. Oh look, 7 FPS because everyone connected to the same spot. Still a fair bit higher than I'll turn Reshade on and off. Difference. So obviously when it's brighter it's on. You can see the detail in the roads and the mountains a bit better. And for the map. Okay. I don't normally go here, but just for demonstration. That there's no shadows in any of the trees. So I hope I don't get in trouble with this bit. I guess until they patch it, it's better if more people know than less, because yeah, a lot of people will be using this. Oh, and the ground, how it's wet, is affected by, I think it's effects as well. It's not, effects isn't just for like Molotovs and fire. So if I change effects here to medium, you can see the quality of the rain on the ground looks a lot nicer. You see it? See, now it's like more reflective and just bright. There's not as much detail to the rain. And medium adds a bit more of that detail back. But I don't think it's worth running, even though the whole entire ground is like glowing. Okay, now I can show you the trees. So it's not view distance, it's foliage. When you turn it up to low, oh, there's a few little, actually, in this position. I've tested this before and I didn't notice. But low adds a couple bushes back. And I should be looking more towards, I guess you can see that background mountain that's like got no trees on it. Like that, you can see it in the corner. But very low, low, medium, more trees, high, trees on the top of the mountain now. And very high just improves the view distance even more. But, I mean ultra, but you can't see it here, there's not enough trees. Maybe from that direction. Like it increases the amount of trees you can see in the distance. Oh, can't see it here. But you get the idea. So that's trees, foliage. Obviously you want it very low so you can spot enemies that are like on a hill, like over there, where I'm aiming the cursor. You'd see an enemy there if you're sniping. And then we get view distance, which is the distant terrain meshes. I don't know if anything here is going to pop in, but I'll try. I think we can get the tower on the top of the hill to pop in. But view distance, medium, there we go. High, nothing. Really need to be on a hill that can see like a bit more. You can see some towers and stuff in the background there. Put it on this angle. So view distance, very low. Low. There's nothing. Close enough. Medium. See how far away you can see? That's already on medium. You can already see those distant towers. High. Maybe that lighthouse was on high. Oh, it's close. Ultra. There. Even further away, it's like a house. Miles away. That's what having ultra does. But it doesn't actually help. If you've got the map, you don't really need any of this. It doesn't affect players. I've tested all players. And I've had a sniper rifle with 8 times, and I've zoomed in and still been able to snipe people, so it's useless having that up. And the rest is self-explanatory. I was going to show the grass. So if I turn this to ultra, post-processing. Wait, let's see if... There you go. Okay, so foliage, ultra. Trees. And then post-processing ultra. Yeah. The ground looks like... Ultra. The grass is thicker, in my opinion. Or it adds a depth of field that makes the grass like harder to see through. Turn Reshade back on, it fixes it mostly, but for me, I find it annoying. You have to look real close to even notice it. I swear there's more grass. I don't know if it's just like a placebo. Or it's adding like shadow to the ground or something. But I think it's to do with thickness. I mean, that seems to be... Try here. I don't know. But I've found that having it off tends to improve visibility, so there's no sunlight here to test it on, but it adds bloom and stuff, so when you're looking at a mountain, the light coming over the mountain will be brighter with post-processing on. So anyway, that's the majority of this video, what I planned on doing. And you can stick around and watch me die if you want, because I've been AFK in the car. You can see how other players look when I come across them. I'll put my mic on push to talk. So reshade on, off, on, off. Obviously there's a huge visibility difference. Can I make it? Oh, and another thing, for the new players that are just getting into PlayerUnknown, all items add to your carry capacity, so that's kind of why people will wear lots of stuff if they can find it. Even glasses and a face mask will add like 10, 20 to your capacity. So you can see here, 100 capacity just from having the jacket. But everything adds like 10 to 20 capacity, the accessories. Look at that, that looks pretty detailed there. Maybe I'll test getting naked. That won't let me. I have to actually drop my clothes on the ground. Oh no. I've seen people run faster with less on, but I don't know if it's just me. And you can hold Alt as well if you want to look behind yourself while running without changing your direction. So like this. It's good for checking your flank when you're sniping as well. All I need is a bike. The first blue electric field wave doesn't hurt as much as the zone's closing in when it gets near the end of the game. So if you get caught in it early, you don't have to worry about quitting. You usually get pretty far. I'll make it. I'll make it. Drops when you look up at the screen when it's raining. It actually drops on your face. How much would it suck if I get here and then someone's there and shoots me? There's someone. There's the visibility test. You can see it. That guy saw me. Press X to holster your weapon, and you run faster. Yeah, I won't make it this time. Screw you, electric field. Nothing I can do. We'll find a med kit. I won't. Lame. Maybe one more. Did I just join the wrong server? I think I joined the wrong server. Join a squad match.
안녕하세요.
Ni hao. Sayo.
니하오. 안녕하세요.
Ni hao.
你好，我是韩国人。
I don't know any other Chinese, sorry.
I speak English too. It's fine.
Oh, cool.
Where are you guys from?
I'm in Philippines, but I'm from Australia.
Okay, I'm in South Korea. I thought you were
Cool.
Chinese because you were speaking in Chinese.
I get so many Chinese players on my team, so I just try to open with that.
Right. Oh, right. This is randoms. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. You want to try to drop away from everyone else, or do you want to just go for player kills?
Since like the other two are not really talking, I guess. Oh wait, not thank you. Oh god. I'm fine with anything.
Go ahead, Fane, we can hear your something, your mic. I hope you're not doing what I think you could be doing. No, he's drumming. He's just drumming. That's nothing sus. Do you want to try the bunker? The bunker's usually pretty good. Although a lot of people might try to go there. Here you go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. A whole team is landing here behind us. So get in and
원 스쿼드?
grab a gun as quick as you can.
원 스쿼드? 아, 네, 전 한국인.
Just behind
들어오세요, 빨리.
us.
여기 한 팀 떨어진 것 같아. Find this weapon. Where weapon?
SKS 쓰실 분.
총알밖에 없어. 아씨, 큰일 났다.
There's an SKS here if you want to use it.
여기 배낭 2레벨짜리 하나 있고.
I found M4 16. I think he would have went. He went in the other entrance.
지금 총알이 없거든? 아, 총이 없거든요?
여기 샷건도 하나 있는데. 이거.
오 마이 갓.
Uh oh. We lost 501.
어디야? 오케이.
샷.
이거 일단, 나 이거 하나 대용량 그거 먹을게.
넷. 영원.
이게
우리
갈래길이,
Just careful. There could be more. There was
갈래길이
four
몇
of them.
군데
There was
있는지.
four.
샷으로 나가는 입구라서. Yeah, they should be down this hall because the other way is the way only the.
Yeah.
Coming up behind.
I think they're coming up behind us.
스칼. 노노 원피플 앞에 라이트
한 명 잡았는데 아직도.
Oh, man.
3명 있어 3명 가면 안돼 가면 죽어.
To your left. Halfway to your left. No, to your left.
죽어.
I shot one more guy. Wait, no.
오 마이 갓. 아, 저 진치고 있었구나. 아.
I'm scared. There's a lot of bodies here.
I think we got all of them.
Oh, nice. So that was all of them.
밥 뭐 먹어? 밥.
I don't know.
여기에서 사람 맛있어. 왜 앞에 안 뛰어먹으려고 하냐. 이거 뭘 들어가. 콩나물 진짜 좋은 거. 나무 들어가서. 맛만 있으면.
I'm not even in the white zone. All these people were naked that got killed.
Yeah. Oh.
아, 너무 무모하게 들어갔나 봐. 뭐야?
뭐야? 에이? 난 누가 안 먹어서.
Oh, nice. There's a buggy. it's a bit soft.
Alright, I forgot I pushed it up. Yeah, probably gonna end at Jericho, I think.
Just a question. Can you see the shadows of the trees in your game?
Yeah, I can. Why?
Do you want to know how to turn them on?
Well, I guess, yeah, I guess that'll be really helpful.
Yeah. In your Steam launch commands, there's like an FPS tweak that's supposed to boost your FPS, but you can actually turn off the shadows completely using it. It's called
Oh.
-SM4. So in your Steam launch commands for this,
SM4.
yeah, like just a dash next to the plus symbol, and then SM4 to your Steam launch commands, and then turn shadows to low or very low, and it'll turn off all the tree shadows. And it turns off all the shadows on buildings too, so you can see pretty much everywhere. It's really helpful, but I hope they patch it sooner or later, because I liked hiding in the shadows until I figured out that you can do that.
Level 2 helmet in there, the shack.
Huh?
There was a level 2 helmet in the shack right next to you.
Oh, I'm blind.
The little hut. The smaller hut with the roof, yeah. Oh
Was
wait,
it?
never mind, that
Oh.
was a bad. I trolled you, oh my god, I'm so bad.
It's okay. Oh, and another thing is if you use Reshade, have you heard of Reshade?
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, Reshade fixes the in-game anti-aliasing, so instead of everything being blurry, it makes you can turn Reshade on, and then you get the anti-aliasing plus a sharp picture.
Cool.
So I'm playing with Reshade, and then I was able to turn anti-aliasing to high and screen render to 80, and it looks better than screen render to 100 without Reshade.
Mmm.
But I'll upload this so you can see for yourself if you want.
Yeah, thanks for the tips, man.
That's alright. I'm just gonna like try to suicide so you can get into another game.
I mean, it's fine. I don't think Godfade. I tried from it once that, and I think Godfade is pretty busy with real life stuff. Sounded like his wife, I think, in the background.
Yeah.
Not too sure.
In trouble.
I'm just having dinner while I watch you play, so you can take it. Oh, there's a car. That's yeah. Oh, easy.
Oh my god.
No!
That was the worst idea. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just sit in here and maybe they won't notice. But they pulled up
Hey,
straight
do you
away.
have? Yeah. Do you have your what's your Steam name? Maybe I'll add you.
Same as
You
this.
can, like-
Same in-game
Oh,
name. You
Okay.
can find me on this, and
You
I've
wanna
also.
you wanna go for another?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you wanna go for another round?
All right. Yeah, just add
Yeah,
me and
sure. I'll add you
I'll
right
accept,
now.
and then we can sort out a party.
Yeah.
Cool. Alright guys, so that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and till the next one.